let me show you this. We all live inside a bubble, right? This is our world. We go to church here, we work over here, we go get our coffee over here, we go to this park over here, we usually go over here to, you know, hang out with friends. This is our favorite club. This is our world. This is our favorite spot on the beach. We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it. Look, I'd love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I'd love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. That ain't happening. You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary is cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're gonna have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. I'm sorry, but here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities, all of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. It ain't but 24 hours in a day. You cannot be sleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LA and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They already making decisions about your life and your ass was asleep. The Bible says, he who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. I'm gonna ask you one question, I'm gonna go. How many of you in here know somebody who loves to sleep? Who knows somebody that loves to sleep? Let me ask you something. Ain't they po?
Successful technology investors and one of the world's most successful businessmen. Let me start by asking you about a fund that you are now raising, the Vision Fund. It's supposed to be a fund of $100 billion?
Yes.
Now that would be the biggest fund ever raised. So when you told people you were going to raise a $100 billion fund, did they tell you you were a little crazy?
Well, some people said.
You had a meeting with a man who was the Deputy Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who's now the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And as I understand the story, you went in and in 1 hour you convinced him to invest $45 billion.
No, it's not true.
Okay.
45 minutes, $45 billion.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I apologize. In other words,
so
if you had
$1 billion per minute.
What could you have said that was that persuasive to get $45 billion in one meeting?
Well, actually, I said, you came to Tokyo as the first time. I wanna give you a gift. I wanna give you a Masa gift, a Tokyo gift, $1 trillion gift. And he opened up his eyes. I said, okay. Now it's interesting.
All right.
So I woke up him and said, here is how we can give you I can give you $1 trillion gift. You invest $100 billion to my fund. I give you $1 trillion.
But what is it that you told people? What was the vision that you actually gave them?
So one vision, which is singularity. Singularity is the concept that the computing power, computers' artificial intelligence surpass mankind's brains.
The singularity is the concept. The word means that is the point at which a computer becomes smarter than a human brain.
Yes. Today already computer is smarter than mankind for chess or Go or weather forecast. To some expert systems, computer is already smarter. But in 30 years, most of the subject that we are thinking, they will be smarter than us. That's my belief.
Let's go back and talk about your upbringing a bit. So you are of Korean descent. Your grandfather came from Korea and moved to Japan many years ago, and your parents were born in Japan. Did you suffer discrimination growing up in Japan?
Yes, I had some experience, but I feel now it was good. That made me, stronger to work harder. So I had to prove that I am not different from any other guys, not inferior, it's the same. So I had to work harder to prove the value.
Your family adopted a Japanese name at one point.
Well, actually in Japan, there was at some period, Japanese government forced every Korean to change to Japanese name. So it was not their intention. We had to.
You had to change. Okay.
Had to change. That made me even more harder because I was feeling that I was hiding something.
Now,
it was even tougher.
Now, you did not grow up in Tokyo. You grew up in a relatively small town, is that right?
Yes.
In Japan?
Yeah, in the southern
In the
part.
southern part of Japan. So at one point it is said that you were very interested in meeting the head of McDonald's in
McDonald's, Japan.
Why were you interested in meeting the head of McDonald's? Did you like McDonald's food, or you just, what was it?
No, he wrote a book, and that book became the bestseller. I was so impressed and said, "Oh my God, this is great!" And the guy who wrote about it must be great.
So how old were you when you wanted to meet him?
16.
16. So you managed to get a meeting with him.
I called his assistant, and long distance call. Back then it was so expensive. I made almost 100 calls, 60 calls, and say, this is my name. I'm a student, and could you ask him to share me some time? And could you ask him? And she said, "Oh, I will try, but he's not going to meet with a student." I said, "Well, don't decide by yourself. Let him decide."
Okay.
So I spoke with the assistant, different assistants so many times, and they don't give me the right answer. So I said, okay, this is a waste of my telephone bill. So I flew into Tokyo, and I said, I came because the phone call becoming more expensive than air ticket.
So what happened?
And I said, well, tell him exactly the way I said. You don't have to look at me, you don't have to talk to me, you can keep on working, whatever you are doing. I just want to see his face. For 3 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm not bothering him. I'm so impressed and respect him, I want to see him. And if you tell him that I'm not going to bother him, time is money, he says, I'm not going to damage his life, she actually asked. And he said, okay. Actually, he spent 15 minutes with me, talking face to face.
And he gave you some advice, which was to learn.
Yeah, I asked him, what business should I do? Computer. That's the one. If I were you, at your age, at this time of the, don't look at the past industry, look at the future industry. That's the one, computer industry, that's the one you should focus. If I were you, that's the one. So I said, wow, great.
Okay, so he gave you that advice. You're number one in your class, and then you go to University of California at Berkeley.
Yes.
But when you were there, I understand you were not being a student so much, you were doing business on the side.
Well, I was a good student. But I said, 5 minutes I would allow other than study. I have to make money. I want to earn $10,000 per month, and I will allow myself, 5 minutes a day. So I asked my friends, isn't there a good job that I can earn $10,000 in 5 minutes a day? But my friend said, you're crazy, it's impossible, nothing like that. Do you want to sell drug? So I said, no, I don't want to do that. So I said, okay, what is the best, most efficient use of my time? It's invention. It's invention, and I have to file patent. If I get the patent, 5 minutes, if I focus, I can come some idea. I can make some idea. So I set alarm clock 5 o'clock, 5 minutes. And tick. In 5 minutes, I said, come, invention, come, come, right? So I did that.
And it worked.
It worked.
You invented a machine that helped people translate languages?
Yeah, that one was the electronic dictionary. The first electronic dictionary, many students use electronic dictionary. The first one ever made was by myself.
First electric dictionary?
Yes.
And you sold it to Sharp?
To Sharp.
And you made a lot of money?
Yeah, $1.7 million.
So what did you do with $1.7 million then?
Well, I used to start SoftBank.
Okay, so did you move back?
I did one more project. I made another 1.5 million. So I made 3.2 million in 18 months. So that is better than $10,000 per month.
Right.
I told that to my friend. Look, I got $3.2 million, and I kept working only 5 minutes a day, as I promised you.
But then after you graduated and you made these successful inventions, you moved back to Japan. Is that right? Why did you move back to Japan? Not that it's not a great place to move back to, but you're in Silicon Valley area. Why not stay there?
I created a company, and my employees asked me to stay, but I said, no. I promised to my mother when I decided to come study in the States. She was crying in the airport. And I said, no, don't cry, Mom. After I graduate from the school, I come back. I promise. And she said, no, you don't come back. This is the forever,
Let me tell you what it was for me, right?
Okay.
I mean, for me, it was like all that other stuff was like memorize this, remember this, follow instructions.
Right.
My brain didn't work that
Me
way,
neither.
right? I have a terrible rote memory. Like if I have to remember anything, like that it doesn't have a reason for being what it is,
Yes.
phone numbers, names,
Yes.
and all
Yes.
that. So there was something in any case, but I had a lot of curiosity.
A lack of practicality?
No, I wasn't
No. Did that seem like to me? Remember, they're still doing it, Ray. When the information's on the goddamn phone right in front of you.
I understand. I mean, and that means you destroy. I mean, to me, it destroys your thinking, your curiosity. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know why I was that way.
Do you think lack of education can be a disproportional strength?
Oh yeah, because you have to discover. Because you have to discover for yourself. Discovering for yourself. There's a negative correlation. You have to discover for yourself. Do you follow instructions or do you discover for yourself?
Do you remember?
How can you be an independent thinker?
Right.
Like we just went through this issue in the investment area.
Yes.
Or if we're taking entrepreneur.
Yes.
I just told you got to be an independent thinker. Okay. How do you get to be an independent thinker?
Got to taste
it's certainly
for yourself.
Not by following instructions and memorizing.
Why do you think I don't read any fucking books?
And all the way until you're coming out of school.
I get it. Ray, it's why I don't read books. It's why, before we went on air, everybody, I was telling Ray about what I'm up to here, because we didn't talk about it last time. I had to taste this for myself. I could have hired people that ran CPG brands. I need to discover it for myself, contextualize it for myself, and understand the attention graph of the end consumer for myself.
When you get in certain states, you think one thought. When you get in other states, you think another thought. It's like turning the channel. And so what I really show people in the book how to do is how to turn the channel so that you're not suffering and you're living in a beautiful state. But what does it take? Let's just quickly say it. Number one, it takes acknowledging what's your favorite flavor of suffering. Is it worry? Is it stress? Is it anger? Is it loneliness? Is it boredom? Is it overwhelm? And then noticing what are the thoughts that trigger that and realizing it doesn't matter how much money you have, those thoughts can still make a billionaire crazy and frustrated and overwhelmed. And so what I show people to do is a process of how to let go of those thoughts. And we walk through that in the book in detail. But fundamentally, it starts with making the most important decision of your life, which is, if I would asked me up until 2 years ago, I would say it's who you spend time with, who you love. Because who you spend time with is who you become. I think it's still one of the most important decisions in life. But you can pick the right person and still do things in your head and make yourself miserable. So you really have to decide. The most important decision is, do I want to be happy? Will I commit to being happy? More important than happy. Sometimes you can be so happy you smile so much your face hurts, right? You need variety. Am I committed to living in a beautiful state even when it doesn't go my way? Even when it rains on my parade? Even when my biggest fear shows up? Because I can't control whether your husband or wife will live or die or get sick or leave you or get a divorce. I don't want any of that to happen to any human being. I hate suffering. I do anything I can to help people not suffer. But I can't control that. You can. There are people who have lost their arms, lost their sight. There have been people that have been through the most horrific experiences in life, and they found a way to still be happy because they've made the decision that life is too short to suffer. I've interviewed dozens and hundreds over the years, but dozens that have impacted my soul, that made me realize I can change this. I've just gotten used to it. I bought into the theory that this survival software that's constantly running and making you suffer, that's normal. No, that's what the mind will do. And mind has been around forever. What I'm going to do is something different. And the way I get out of suffering, I give myself a 90-second rule. It's really simple. I say, look, if I feel myself starting to feel that stress, feeling that pissed offness or upsetness or concern or worry about my kid, whatever, I realize that's not going to make it better. Life's too short to suffer. And then I just kind of breathe slowly, slow everything down, and I just watch the thought go by and go, look at that crazy thought. Because everybody's had crazy thoughts. Everybody's had a thought, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch, right? And then you don't kill them because you don't believe that thought. It's the thoughts that are stressful that you believe that mess you up. When you question them, you break the pattern. And then the last thing besides the 90 seconds, and by the way, Richard, to be honest, in the beginning, it should have been like a 4-hour rule, maybe a 4-day rule. I was not very good.
A waiting period.
Yes, but what's nice is the more I've done it's like a muscle. The more I've trained myself to do it, I can authentically tell you now, it takes a lot for something to take more than 90 seconds for me now. And the level of joy surpasses all the money you could ever have in a million years. And then the money, it's easier to even make money because you're not attached. You don't have the fears. You don't have the scarcity that people have because you feel so rich already right now. I always tell people, don't wait to be rich. What is that richness? It's abundance, it's joy, it's happiness, it's contribution, it's getting out of yourself. Because as long as we're thinking about, oh my God, I lost something, or you did something, now I have less love, less respect, less money. If I think lost less, or because you did something, or because I did something, I'm never gonna have what I want in my life, lost less, never. Those 3 thought patterns, they're the source of all suffering. And the antidote, see it for what it really is, know it's BS, and find something to appreciate.